one note page visible to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we are going to see why the goal is to see or analyze why IC2, sorry, IC3 is equal to I2. This is the goal that we are interested in evaluating. Okay. Basically, we started off with saying that we want to design a constant current source. Why? Because it provides very high input impedance. At the same time, it will have or it will set up a considerable biasing current, that is a collector current, quiescent current, so that the common mode rejection ratio improves. We have already seen that yesterday. Okay. We'll start with the analysis. First of all, Q3 and Q4 are identical. Identical as in their characteristics are same. Since the characteristics are same, the base emitter voltages are also same. That is equal. Let us not say same. Let us use a proper word here, equal. By induction, we see that base currents and hence collector currents are also equal. This is what we have already established. So writing it mathematically, VBE3 is equal to VBE4. Similarly, IC3 is equal to IC4. Similarly, IB3 is equal to IB4. Okay. Now look at this node VB3. This one. Look at this node. What we can do is we can sum all the currents at VB3 or simply use KCL. Using KCL at node VB3. Look, where is VB3? So what do you see here? If you apply KCL at node VB3, what do you get? Guys?
I2 equals to IC4 plus.
Yes. So I2 equal to IC4 plus I. Is it okay? Which
Yes,
further
sir.
I can write as IC4. Now what is I? See what is I? I mean, again, you can apply KCL over here and see that I is equal to what?
IB4 plus IB3.
IB4 plus IB3. IB4 plus IB3. Since I is equal to IB4 plus IB3. But we have already established that IB3 and IB4 are equal. So can I write it like this? IC4 plus 2 times IB4. Okay. I can also write this as IC3 plus 2 times IB3. Because IC4 is equal to IC3. Further, IC3 plus 2 times, what is IB3? It is IC3 by HFE. We already have this with us. So I can write this as IC3 by HFE. Is this step clear? Guys? So therefore I can write I is equal to IC3, pulling this IC3 common, 1 plus 2 divided by HFE. Okay? Is it clear up to this step? Sorry, this should be I2. Okay? Is this fine, guys?
Yes, sir.
Now we already know that HFE is in excess of, let us say, 100. So since HFE is far more greater than 1 or even 2 as a matter, say that 2 by HFE is nearly equal to 0. Very, very small. Or you can, to be more precise, I'll say that this is far more less than far more less than 1. Okay? So can I make make an approximation like this? So I2 becomes equal to nearly equal to IC3. Is this fine? Guys,
Yes, sir.
so what was our goal? Our goal was to prove this. So is it okay? Have we done that? So we can conclude that collector current of Q3 is nearly equal to I2. Now let us see how I2 is obtained. How do I write an equation for I2? How do I get I2? Remember, this is like this. The polarity across R2 is like this. So can I write an equation there for the base emitter loop? This one. So you can say using KCL for base emitter loop of Q4. Tell me, what do you see? What do you get? Guys, this voltage okay plus this voltage and this voltage. So it is a loop like this. Sorry, it should be Q3. So base emitter loop across of base emitter loop of Q3. So can I write? So tell me, what is the equation that you see? Minus R2I2, or let us not reverse the order. Minus I2R2 minus VBE3 plus VEE equal to 0. Is this clear? Guys, are you there with me? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Seems only one student is active
Yes,
in
sir.
answering the questions,
Yes, sir.
responding. What about the others? Don't simply log in and go away somewhere. This is going to be a big problem if you do that. Anyways. So, now from this equation, is this equation clear in the first place? Guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So from this, can I write an equation for I2? Simply rearranging this, we get VEE minus VBE3 divided by R2. This is an important equation. Why? Because it gives us a design equation for, it's a design equation for I2. So by selecting proper value of R2, value of R2, we can set I2. Generally what we do is we first, while designing, we select I2, a proper value of I2, and then calculate R2. Is this fine? Is this fine? Guys? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Have you understood? I have given you a design for a very simple current mirror. Okay? So our problem of improving CMRR has been somehow sorted out. Okay?
Yes,
Yes, sir.
Okay. So can expect a numerical based on this to find out the value of I2. Very simple. It's not that great at all. Okay. So now we have with us a full-fledged, let us say, a differential amplifier. Okay. So let us have a look at the big picture, drawing the complete differential amplifier. So this is your input 1, input 2. These are the outputs. And here we'll be having what? What do we have here? The current mirror that we have seen right now. So this is the this is RC plus VCC Q1 Q2 Q3 Q4 R2 and minus VEB. You see the big picture now? Guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is how we can have a good differential amplifier design. Now, people also found out that instead of this passive loads, that is RC. So just for extra information, I'm telling you, RC can also be replaced with current sources. ADM is equal to what? Minus HFE RC divided by what? 2 into Rin plus HI. Isn't it? This is the equation, no? For differential mode gain. So if I want to have a maximum differential mode gain, I have to have a very large value of RC. And if again large value of RC is used, again the same problem that we faced with emitter current or emitter resistor, the same problem will be there. So people thought, yes, we can replace this RC also with current sources. Okay, but we'll not go into those details. We'll just satisfy ourselves with this particular design. Okay, is that clear, guys?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So now once we have this first and the second stage will be almost identical. A few changes. The third stage will be called as a level translator. If you look at the block diagram, internal block diagram, somewhere here, I guess. Yes. You see this now? Your input stage is a differential amplifier, intermediate stage also is a differential amplifier, and the third stage will be the level shifting stage, also called as the level translator. So we are going to see what is this level translator or level shifting. Fine. Now, what you see here is let me draw the two differential amplifiers with an example here, and then things will be more clear. So let me draw this first. So now we are looking at bigger picture. We'll be having two differential amplifiers composing the first and the second stages. Of course, I'm going to simplify this by using a symbol for current source instead of our current mirror. This is your input. This is another input. And now we have another differential amplifier. With another current source here like this. This is going to be your, this is going to be plus VCC, this is going to be minus VEE. And the output is going to be connected in slightly different way. So the output of this I will be using different color here so that it will be easier for appreciation. So I am goes to this end. Similarly here, output goes to this end. Okay, and finally the output that I get is derived from somewhere here across collector of this transistor. So this is how the big picture will look like. Coupling of one differential amplifier with the other. Of course, this is going to be the input, another input. See that? This is going to be your VID, differential input voltage. Now this terminal will be what? We'll be calling this as the non-inverting terminal, this as the inverting terminal. We have seen why this is so. Okay? And this is going to be the output with respect to ground. Okay. Now if you see carefully, the voltage at this point or voltage at any point, as a matter of fact. For that, probably I'll have to go back to multisim to show you this. So just hold on. All right. Let me switch to the screen, multi-sim screen. Okay, is the multi-sim screen visible to all of you, guys?
Sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So instead of getting a differential output, I am just going to have something like this. We'll see what this is. Okay, so this is the designed differential amplifier, only stage 1. Okay, and now if I run the simulation, I'm going to see the amplified output. Okay, but if I couple it with DC, meaning what? Meaning what? Okay, let me do it this way. Let me show the DC content also. So you can see here that the signal is such that it is riding on the top of DC. Do you see this? Well, this is only a differential one. Let us try to find out the voltage here. And you'll see that it is riding on the top of 3 volts. See that? Guys,
Yes, sir.
are you there?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, there was a call drop, I guess. So do you see the multisim output?
Yes, sir.
What do you see? That this input signal, which is amplified, is riding on the top of a DC level, which is 3.09. In common emitter amplifier, we solve this problem by using a coupling capacitor. Do you remember that?
Yes.
But here in
Yes,
this
sir.
case, we are not supposed to use capacitor. So this DC level is going to be also an input to the second stage. Okay, this DC level is also going to be the input to the second stage. Of course, second stage can be designed to offset or compensate for this, but finally the output stage at what we are looking at also will be having a DC content in its output. Are you able to understand this?
Yes, sir.
So how to solve this problem? And that is the reason for using level translator is exactly the same. So level translator does nothing but removes the DC content, so as to say, or shifts the output properly so that there is no DC content in the output, final output. So how to do that? So let me put it this way first, so that for those who are taking down notes will be easier for them. Since we use direct coupling, between the stages, DC content also gets coupled. And this may shift the DC level And if that happens, we don't want that to happen. So what do we do? Hence, we use a level translator circuit, which actually is a level shifting circuit. Such a kind of circuit you will see is a very simple thing. Okay, first of all, tell me one very simple thing. If I use a circuit like this, what is the circuit, by the way? Which configuration? Which configuration is this? Which transistor configuration is this? Guys, this is going to be your VCC. This is going to be your RE. Which configuration is this? Hello? Guys?
Collector.
It is a
Common collector.
very good. It is a common collector circuit. So very simple circuit. Now what is the speciality of a common collector circuit? Number one, it does not give any voltage gain. So AV is nearly equal to 1. That is what we have proved last semester, last course. But at the same time, you will see that whatever is the input here, if this is, let us say, 2 volts, what is going to be the voltage at this point? What is going to be the output voltage? Remember, this is plus minus VBE. So what is going to be the output voltage? Your input voltage 2 volts minus VBE, which is VBE, if you say it is a silicon transistor, which is nearly equal to 0.7 volts. So this will be what? 1.3 volts. Are you getting this? Guys, are you getting this?
Yes.
So what have we necessarily done is that I have shifted the level from 2 volts to 1.3 volts. All right? Is that fine?
Yes, sir.
So in a similar way, I can use the same circuit with a slight modification. Now instead of connecting this to ground, of course we have VEE, which is negative. So I'll connect another resistor over here and tie it to VEE. Call this R1, call this R2. And when there is no input, I can adjust this value of R2 such that the output is, rather this point is at 0 volts. Can I do that? Hello? Is this clear? Guys, please respond. Hello? Guys?
So can you repeat this?
Okay, I'll show it with the help of a simulation. Don't worry. Just hold on. I'm shifting back to multisim. Do you see the multisim screen? Guys, do you see the multisim screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let me just remove some unnecessary things so that it will be easier for you to see, other than getting bogged down by multiple values. Okay. So let us assume that this is the setup that we have. Okay, and your source is having some DC content. See, I have offset it by 3 volts. Meaning what? It simply means that I'll just remove it so that see the coupling of the oscilloscope is in a DC mode. All of you see this, guys?
Yes, sir.
So my input signal is actually a sine wave which is riding on the top of 3 volt DC signal. All right,
Yes, sir.
and our intention is to remove that DC. Clear? Okay, now with this particular circuit, what I can do is I can change this value of R5 in this case, okay, and shift the DC over here. See this? Now what is happening? Red is the output. So what I have done, I have shifted the signal. I have removed the DC content by adjusting this value. If you yes. So now with the help of this resistor, I can make sure that the DC content in the output is reduced to 0. How does this happen? How does this happen? It is because of the common collector configuration here. Okay, let me switch back to this one node. Okay. Now here, what is the output voltage? Do you see the one node page now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now this is say this was the ground, but now if I make this adjustment, slight adjustment, such that this is, let us say, minus 1.3 volts. All right. This is RE. So what is going to be my output voltage with respect to ground? V out will be equal to your input 2 volts minus VBE minus this value. So what will it be now? 2 volts minus 0.7 volts minus 1.3 volts. That gives me 0. Are you able to understand this? Guys?
Yes, sir.
So in order to make the voltage over here as minus 1.3 volts, what am I supposed to do? Yes, I am supposed to use a potential divider like thing here. All right? Are you getting this? Or no? You want me to explain it once more?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Take a look here. This is your V in. This is where I am supposed to get the output. Okay. This is your VBE. Okay. Now output over here, that is VO, will be V in minus VBE minus voltage drop across this R1. So I can make this R1 such that I have to make that R1 such that this is equal to, let us say this was VO 2 volts minus 0.7 minus minus 1.3. So this voltage I should increase or decrease. Now here in this case I am supposed to decrease it because the offset already is positive. So if I want to decrease this, I have to use a negative supply which already is there fortunately for us. So I can simply make use of another resistor and make a potential divider like this. This necessarily is a potential divider, you see. So this is a potential divider. And I want to make sure that the center point over here is now 0 volts. So the drop across this should be 1.3 volts. Are you able to understand now? What I am doing is I am just setting the drop across R1 to 1.3 volts in this case, so that whatever is the DC content, let us say your signal is riding on the top of a DC level. So this is the DC level, 2 volts, and my signal is riding on the top of that. And I want to get rid of this. This is your V in. So this arrangement will make sure that this 2 volts offset is completely removed. Are you able to understand this?
Yes,
Guys?
sir.
So this is the job
Yes,
of
sir.
the level translator. Okay, you can, I've already shown you with the simulation output also. Okay. And to still improve the performance, even replace this R2 with something else which we have already seen. And what is that? So this is going to be your output voltage, VO at this point. And I'll still improve this with the help of what? What is this? And this is the setting. So I can again use a current mirror instead of R2. Are you getting this? So current mirror is a very, very important circuit in operational amplifier. Okay. And unfortunately, your syllabus doesn't even mention current mirror. That is the reason why I'm going to this extent. You see that? Guys?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So that was the third stage. And what is the fourth stage then remaining? What is the fourth stage that is remaining? 。 Go back to the block diagram. Go back to the block diagram and see. What is the fourth stage? The fourth stage is a complementary symmetry push-pull amplifier. Okay. Now, why do we require this? So the fourth stage is a output stage which is a complementary symmetry push-pull amplifier. Have you done this in AEC? Power amplifier? Complementary symmetry push-pull
Yes, sir.
amplifier. Have you done this? Yes
Sir.
or no? Guys, so the basic idea of a complementary symmetry push-pull amplifier is like this. This will be your VCC. This will be your minus VEE. Now, what is this amplifier again? Which configuration is it in? Guys? Guys? Of course, you can have direct connection. Do you know the classes of amplifiers? We have the class A, class B, class AB, and class C amplifier. Have you studied this?
No, sir.
Hello? Guys, are you there?
Yes, sir.
So why is the response
Sir.
today?
There was a
I'm
call drop.
shouting at the top of my voice. So
Sir, you were not audible for.
okay, my question
There
is,
was a call drop.
my question is, have you studied the classes of amplifiers?
No, sir.
No, sir.
No, sir.
Not yet. Okay. This may be a little bit of detour, but okay. Class A amplifier is the one which amplifies the complete signal. That is, if the signal is like this, so you can see now that the degree of conduction, that is, okay, up to this we have full 360 degrees. Okay, this will be 180 degrees. Okay, half of this. So if the amplifier is able to amplify the full cycle, okay, that is all 360 degrees of the time it is conducting, that is, it is amplifying, it is called as class A. That is what we have seen. In class B, you have conduction or amplification only of one particular cycle. Okay, that is 180 degrees conduction, it is called. In class C, it is less than that. So a small part of a signal is amplified. So I'll just complete this. So only a small part is amplified. This is called as class C. This is called as class B. And this is called as class A, full conduction. Okay, you learn that in more details in your AEC. Now, efficiency of the amplifier is very less when it is in class A mode. In class B mode, it is moderate. In class C, it is the highest. And that is the reason why class C amplifier is used for RF amplifiers, radio frequency. But as you can see, the distortion is more and more. Here, no problem. There is no distortion, but here there is only half the signal is amplified. During the other half, transistor is cut off. Okay, so it is half. The distortion is there. Here, a large distortion is there. Of course, there are ways and means to solve this problem. So this basically is a class B, which is modified to class AB. What is this class AB? Class AB is a slight variation where we are making sure that it conducts for slightly more duration. Okay, so your transistor will conduct for slightly more duration, slightly more. So it will conduct slightly more here. Okay. So your waveform will be something like this. So one transistor will conduct slightly more in the negative as well. Okay. That is a class B. So this is actually a class B amplifier, class AB amplifier. Class AB amplifier is nothing. I mean, see, we have class B amplifier. What is the specialty of problem with class B amplifier? That it is giving me only amplification in only one direction, in only the positive half cycle. So who will take care of negative half cycle? I'll use another transistor. And that is what is done by here. So positive half cycle is amplified by this. Negative half cycle is amplified by this. And these two transistors are matched transistors. One important difference that you should see is, what is this transistor? This is NPN. And what is this?
PNP.
What transistor is this? It is PNP. Okay? Both are common collector configurations. Both are common collector configurations. Understood? So this is actually the basic of a power amplifier. So necessarily the output stage is a power amplifier. What does a power amplifier do? Since it is a common collector, there is no voltage gain. So AV is nearly equal to 1. But what am I doing here is I am going for the power amplification. Current gain is going to be high. This is the specialty of common collector, isn't it? And since we are using these two transistors which are complementary, that is, one is NPN, other is PNP, we call it as a complementary. We have a symmetry, so these values of REs will be same. So it is a symmetry because we want to amplify both the half cycles. This is done by, okay, if I label it this way, if I call this Q1, if I call this Q2, this part of the waveform is amplified by Q1 and this part of the waveform is amplified by Q2. Okay? So that is the reason why they are called as complementary symmetry. Now again, push pull. Why push pull? Because it is this particular transistor amplification is pushing it in the positive direction. This is pulling it in the negative direction. So that is the reason why it is called as push pull amplifier. So this is the complementary symmetry push pull amplifier. Now another important thing. What are the features of common collector circuit? We have already seen a few. AV is 1, AI is high, so we are going to get a very high current gain, means it will be in a position to supply considerable load current without getting loaded down. Another important thing, output impedance of common collector. What is output impedance of common collector? Whether it is low or high. Guys, whether it is low or high. Guys, are you there with me? Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir.
So my question is, what is output impedance of common collector configuration? Whether it is high or low?
Sir, low.
Very low.
Yes, sir.
So is it a good thing or a bad thing that the output of the amplifier, that is the entire operational amplifier, if we take, this is stage 1, stage 2, then the level translator, stage 3, and finally the output stage, stage 4. So the output impedance is low, whether it is good or bad. Whether it is good or bad. Look at the very first lecture. We are talking about voltage amplifier. So what should be the output impedance? Ideally,
0.
0.
so in our case, the output impedance, which is because of the common collector, that is a push-pull amplifier stage, is also very low. So whether it is good or bad?
So it's good.
Yes, it's absolutely good. Okay, so that the reason why we have the complementary symmetry push-pull amplifier or the output stage is, number 1, to have the current gain, and number 2, to lower the output impedance. Remember the big picture. We want to design a generic amplifier like this, whose input impedance is very high, whose output impedance is very low. It should have 2 inputs, dual inputs, and a very high gain. So have we managed to do that? Guys?
Yes, sir.
So looking at all these things, whatever we have done, now we are in a position to start with operational amplifier characteristics, because you already know what is there inside the operational amplifier. Okay. Is that fine? Guys, is that okay? I'm just trying to find
Yes,
out.
sir.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
just trying to find out. Um, okay. I think yesterday we did that. the output impedance, input impedance. Yes. Do you see here? Input impedance. This factor, do you see? So it is twice, the input impedance is twice of that of the single stage common emitter amplifier, isn't it? So what we have
Yes, sir.
done essentially is we have designed a system, we have designed an amplifier with high input impedance, low output impedance and a very large gain. At the same time, we are also said something about the differential mode gain and the common mode gain leading to CMRR. So because CMRR is also very high, this amplifier is capable of suppressing the noise signal which is common to both the inputs. So this completes the internal, let us say, design of operational amplifier. Tomorrow we will see a couple of simulations to discuss further the performance. All right. Now please don't be casual in approach as far as these things are concerned. For those who will be going for gate, we'll definitely will have to concentrate on these things. Okay. Of course, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to introduce you to the internals of the operational amplifiers. Okay. So we'll stop here for today. All right.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay.